Hi everybody, I'm TJ Dagger. We're going to look at another video now. This time we're going to focus a bit more on making reinforcements for the player. In the last video we looked at reinforcements for the enemy. These guys here we did last time, and we made these guys follow a path in and come in and reoccurring things we had happening there. So check out the previous video if you're interested in that stuff. For this one we're going to focus on reinforcements for the player. So let's get to it. We're going to use these guys here. These guys are just some English elites, so I'm just going to bunch them up a little bit. I'm going to turn that fog off. That's just Alt F. And right, so reinforcements, they're the little buttons that basically appear over the right hand side of the screen. Click on them and you bring guys in. I'm sure you're all familiar with what they are. So we're going to look at how to do that. So I'm going to start by pressing F9, or back to F3 of course, and then F9, which brings up our mission properties box. I'm going to look in reinforcements here, open that up, and at the top there you can see we've got score total and score current. Basically that's your the score total is the total amount of what are they, MP points I believe, or CP, one or the other, and the current score is how many the player begins with. So you can set those values if you want. So we'll just set that for 2000, and we'll start the player off with 1000 just to get some illustrated stuff happening here. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to use our guys who are on the map there. They're elites, so they're English, so we're going to go E for English underscore elites. That's what we'll call them. Now there's a whole bunch of stuff here we need to fill out to get this all working, so we're going to go through all that. But first we're just going to go back to our guys on the map. We're going to go Control T, which brings up tags. As you can see, our other guys have got them there. These guys haven't yet, so we're going to add some. So that's just Control T to bring up the tag with them guys selected. Do I actually have them selected? We better check that. There we go, now they're all selected. And the first tag we're going to give them is the hidden tag. Add that, and we're going to call them again E underscore elites. Add that. Okay, so with our reinforcements, basically we need to specify a waypoint for them as well. So we're going to add another little reinforcement subcategory here, which we're going to call the English reinforcements, and we're going to add a point there. So what's that? Number 16. So if we press F9, bring up our menu again, and in here under our reinforcements, you see we've got waypoint down the bottom here. We're going to add 16 in there. And OK that. And we're just going to press start, have a look, see what happens. You can see here we've specified no image, so we get basically a blank template there. So pressing that brings up our little pointer, and our little button disappears. Now we'll just finish that. So what's happening there is, and I'll try and illustrate this if I can. Is when that little button appears on the side and we press it, it makes the little waypoint 16 basically appear where we pressed it. So looking here, this is what's virtually happening. There's our button when we begin. As soon as we press this and bring up our little pointer and press it on the map, we can see that our waypoint that we specified actually arrives at that position that we point at, and it sits there. So obviously that's not a complete button, and it's not doing anything much more than just putting that waypoint where we want it, which is part of the process. So what we're going to do is we're going to add an event. We're going to do it on event start, and I'll show you what the difference there is in a moment. But first we're going to add an event. So clicking on there's none in our list, so we're going to add one. And we're going to call it, as you guessed, E_elites. So we know who we're talking about. So we've added that. So we're still missing some stuff, but we can move forward with getting this happening. So we're going to go to our scripts now, and we're going to add a new script. And this time I'm going to call it reinforcements. And I'm going to put that slash there, and then I go E_elites, and accidentally took a screenshot at the same time. Lovely. So you'll see what this has done is this is created by putting reinforcements with the little slash. I've actually created up here in my triggers a little folder or subcategory which I can open and shut, because as you can imagine you've only got a small viewing space there, and you can end up with a whole bunch of commands. So just by writing it that way, as it is there, reinforcements /elites, I've created a little folder. And I can do the same thing even with this one. I can go rename, and I can call this one enemy reinforcements, we'll call it. Again with the slash, and as you can see now we've got another category which is enemy reinforcements and reinforcements, so we can keep things nice and tidy up here and keep track of what we're doing. So we're looking at the elites, our reinforcements. We'll click on that, and it's our elites. So what's happening is now is basically now when we press our button, it's going to trigger this event called elites, which will take us to this command. So what we're going to do in here, we're going to add something here, our command, and we're going to use waypoint. So again, it's going to ask us who we're talking about, and of course we're talking about actors. We're going to go with advanced. We're going to add the group and select the tag English elites, elites. And we're going to include those with the tag hidden. Now our waypoint that we put in earlier was number 16. We want to clone them, want to make them a squad, and in here under approach we're just going to leave it blank, because if we put in safe teleport and rotate, our guys are basically going to teleport to waypoint 16 wherever we click it on the map. And just to illustrate that, let's look at it. So here we go, we're going to press start, grab our little button, turn off that fog. There they are. That's not what we want. So finish that. Not in there, it's over here, isn't it? Bring that up. Okay, so we're going to turn that off, and we'll retry that. And okay, so what's happening is as soon as we press that button on the map, they're losing their hidden tag, they're becoming visible on the map and active, and they start making their way to that waypoint. And that's the core feature of the reinforcement button itself. So we're going to look at a few more details that make the button more finished. So let's finish that. Okay, F3 and F9 brings up our box here again. Now, at the moment our image is basically a generic blank tag. We want to make a better image, so you're probably wondering where on earth do we find the names of images, because basically we have to type something in there. to bring up the image. So we're going to look at a bit at that side of things in some more detail. To do that, we're going to go out of here. You're going to go to the Man of War Assault Squad 2 folder. You're going to look in Resource, and in the interface pack, open that up. It's just a pack file. I'm using WinRAR, free version of it. In the interface, under Scene, and then Unit Icons. Now if you open that up, there's all your unit icons, and there are literally lots and lots and lots and lots and lots. And it's pretty hard to find what you're actually looking for in there. Not only that, but they're a TGA file, which is an image file, and you can open up those, you can drag them out of here and drag them into something like Photoshop or GIMP, as long as you've got the plug-in that's required to view TGA files. I quite quickly got the shits with that. So what I did was, in the mod, and I'm gonna give you access to this mod, which is called the guide file. I've gone in there, back there. I've created an interface folder in here, the scene, unit icons, and I have converted everything to JPEG, so we can actually see what the hell we're looking at. Quite easy. Also, the game buttons, if you create your own, as I've done here, you can see I've created a whole bunch of different buttons for different things that I've worked on. JPEGs will work fine. Just keep them small file sizes, whatever, and they'll work fine. So anyway, okay, so we're going to do a little search here. We've got Elite, guys, so let's look for, see if there's anything that comes up with Elite. What do we got? Okay, so let's look for something there. Elite English, that's just a rifle. We probably want to represent a squad. Here we go. Now you'll notice with buttons, there's 4 varieties of the same one. Like for example, the ones we're going to use are called Elites. It's got English in brackets, 00, and then there's there's a 01, a 02, a 03. Basically, they're the different stages of the button presses. Like, for example, the first one, 00, is how a button looks as it is on the page, and then 01 is the version when you hover over it. 02 is when you click, and 03 is when that's no longer available. So I'm going to just click on there, get the file name of that. Now we don't need the underscore 00 or 11. We don't, anything after the underscore we don't need. So I'm just going to Control C to copy that name. Get back to my editor, into F9 reinforcements, and in here I'm going to paste that name, Elites, with the English there. So okay, that start. And there we go, look at that, and there's where the image changes to number 2 when I hover over it. It'll quickly flash red, or stay red, until I go like that, and there. Now it's completely disappeared, you'll notice. Now we'll look at why it's doing that. Okay, so F3, F9, reinforcements. Okay, so it has a count of 1. That means when you click it once, it's finished, done. You can add a value in there. So say for example in your mission you want only to have available 10 lots of reinforcements, then you can specify 10 lots of reinforcements, and that's all the player will get. Once they run out, they go. That's the end of them. So we can also, there's the score. So we've said we've got 1,000 points to spend. So if we made these say they're worth 100 points, and we'll add a 10 second delay, and just look at what these things do to it. Start. Okay, so click on there. There our guys come. We've got the 10-second countdown. Wait for that to tick. Okay, button becomes available. Okay, if we hover on there, we've only got available 9 left because we said there's only 10 there. Click on it again. Now we've only got 8 available. And why didn't our guys connect? Okay, so let's find out why. This is why. Here we go. Here it is. This is why our guys didn't come out the second time, because the trigger triggered only once. We didn't add the all-important trigger function, which will allow the trigger to trigger again. In the last video we talked about how triggers work. Basically they fire once and they're on. They're in the on position once they're fired. We have to use a trigger command here to turn them back on. To turn the trigger off so that it can become on again. So let's quick test that. There we go. Counting down. No, what's going on there? Okay, so what we can see is now is we're getting a small army just pouring out. Why is it doing that? Let's find out. Okay. So what we have to do is we have an event which is being turned on here by the reinforcements, but that event is still on, and this function that we've created, this trigger, only works when the event is on. So we have to add in here an event command. We have to take our elites event and we have to reset it so that it basically becomes off. So let's press start and see if that is our first. We're not getting an army of dudes this time. There's our buttons back on. We can call out another one. There we go. So that's what we want. That's how it's got to be set up. Let's finish that and just look at what we've got. So this is all very basic stuff. We've got the event that triggers, which is tied into our event start. Now we can swap this event. If we've got event start, we've got event end. If we take that event out of there and we put it at event end, then what we should expect to happen is that the event should start at the end of the delay. Let's check that out. No guys, our countdown timing down. And there they come at the end of the 10-second delay. So when you're designing your mission, you might want, for whatever reason, to, instead of having as soon as you press the button the guys come in, you might want it at the end. So you might want to simulate the fact that a tank may not simply be sitting right at the edge of the map. It might have to drive, it might take it a minute to get there. Whatever you decide to do is up to you. So pretty basic. Have your event tied into your reinforcements. Specify your number, your waypoint number that you're using. Now here's a note too. If you're calling in multiple, for every event button, for every reinforcement button that you set up, you want its own individual unique waypoint. So you don't want to be using the same waypoint across multiple reinforcement buttons. It'll cause issues. They interrupt with each other. So for each new button you add, you need to add a new waypoint. That's a good one to remember. Okay, I need to quickly mention here that when you are stuffing around renaming things to better organize them, you need to make sure, if you're mentioning a trigger or anything else that relates to that, you need to go back and make sure it's named correctly as well. Okay, so what we're going to quickly do, just to illustrate, we're just going to quickly do a reinforcement button for a vehicle. So we'll quick add a vehicle down here. We'll put a let's get something like like a Crusader or something. Where do they come? Okay, pop him down. We'll get some crew for it very quickly. This is quick, would you believe? Okay. What do these things hold? 3. Grab another one of them. Okay, select all them guys. Make sure they're player O, which is our player.
Got it, sir.
Now, I see in the forum a lot of time people have problem selecting the different units. It's basically we've set up our enemy to be player 1 and our player to be player O. Now, quite often people say they can't. They have lots of trouble selecting between the two.
Yes, sir.
So, and then you can't select these guys. No matter what you do, you can select them.
Got it, sir.
Okay, basically with your number pad on, your number pad's got to be on your keyboard. And then it's just a case of like pressing number 1. Number 1 on the keypad gives me player 1. Pressing O on the keypad gives me
Got it, sir.
player O. It's as simple as that. If I have player 2, 3, 4, 5, same thing. For example, make
Yes,
them
sir.
all player
Got
4.
it, sir.
So to select them, I got to press 4.
Yes, sir.
Except for those guys didn't go player 4, did they? Just the 1. So anyway, all right. So we've got our vehicle here. They're all player O, player O. Okay, so we're going to make quickly another button. So go to our buttons, English reinforcements, add another button there, number 17, F9 to bring up our reinforcements. Grab that. I'm just going to go copy. It'll be Crusader. It's going to be waypoint number 17. We're going to give it an event of its own. Add it. Crusader. Probably spelt wrong, don't care. A score of say 200. Not that much, but 200. Leave it at a. Now, if we want an unlimited amount, with the units we put down 10. If we want unlimited, we put -1. -1 makes it unlimited. If you leave it on 0, you'll get 0. So score 200, delay 10. That'll do. Right, now image. Quick, go back to our here we go. Back to our Man of War. Back to my mods folder. The guide file. Interface. Scene. Unit icon. Let's see if Crusader's logically named, which it happens to be. That's handy. So again, you're just copying everything left hand side of the underscore, and that is your image name that you apply. Okay, let's test that. And there's our button, our picture of our Crusader. And he appeared, but he didn't drive over, simply because he's got no tags, no hidden, nothing. That's why we didn't do the rest of it. So we've got to add the rest of it, of course. So let's add that there. We're going to call it Crusader. So we want to add our event, which is our Crusader event. we're going to add in here, well, we can add our event because we want to turn that back off straight away. We don't want it continuously pumping out Crusaders. Reset the event, add the waypoint. So the waypoint, of course, will be 17. We're going actor. We want to go advanced. We're going to add the group with the tag. Well, we haven't given any tags to it, have we? So that's the next thing we got to do. Select him, Control T. He's got to be hidden in order to be cloned. If they haven't got the hidden tag, they won't clone. Crusader. Back to here, our waypoint, and we're in advanced here. We're looking for the tag, of course, Crusader, and we want to include the tag hidden. Now we want to make it a clone, and we leave the rest. It doesn't need to be a squad, it's a tank. Okay, and that should be good. Let's quick save that and start and test it. There it is, and that's all there is to that. Now probably the next thing, we've got infantry here, and we've got tanks here. The last thing you want is, say if your mission's got a couple of different squads, half a dozen vehicles, pack guns, machine guns, etc. You can have this huge list of buttons up the side that are never going to fit on screen. So what we really want to do is make some category buttons. This is where it starts to get a little more complex. We're going to have multi-layered menus. So we're going to look at that in a bit more detail in the next video. Cheers.